Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you to the incredible readers and to all of you for kind of weaving this magical space of peace and justice through words tonight. I got intimidated by the idea of walking through the woods with my electronics, and so I'm just reading tonight, but that's its own kind of pleasure, and I feel like there's a lot of plants and fruit geodes, so I feel like there's a bit of an orchestra of botany behind me and around us. I'm going to start with just one poem from my first book, Divinity School, because the first thing that came to my mind, for at least the peace part of peace and justice, was inner peace, and this is based on a Hasidic teaching that I really love, that I find very useful in that regard. So I really only wrote the title of this. It's a very short poem, and it's one of many how-to poems that are kind of scattered throughout Divinity School. This is called How to Assess Your Net Worth. Take two small pieces of paper. On one, write, "The world was created for me." On the other, "I am only dust and ashes." Put one in each pocket. Never leave the house without them. Pretty good teaching. So like you said in your beautiful introduction, Geode is a book about pregnancy, birth, and early motherhood. And I wrote it after moving from Portland to New York, from New York to Portland. And this book, which I wrote across 18 years, basically, of living in New York, has a lot fewer plants in it. And one of the great joys of being in Portland is that there is this plant life, which has become something that I'm aware of all day, every day, as I walk throughout, in the streets and in my garden. And I think there's I spend a lot of time with ancient wisdom in words, and I think there's a kind of ancient wisdom in plants too now that I've kind of become a silent student of. So it's especially wonderful to get to read these books in this space. Geode. The plagues we wished upon ourselves with aloe juice and cayenne, the planets we strained to reach. That was how being young tasted, each of us a geode, looking to be cracked and to crack each other open, over and over. I am no longer young, except to those who are older, in the way that youth moves along the conveyor belt at a consistent distance. I drink water now. I try to be gentle. The years crack you open enough. Mm-hmm. Materia Medica, which is like an herbalist book of plant medicines and properties. When Achilles was born, his mother held him by the heel and dipped him in a vat of yarrow tea to protect him from harm. Many years later, he died of a wound on the ankle where her fingers touched him and the yarrow could not. Squirrel's tail, warrior plant, 1,000-leaf hero. I too print mortality on my daughter. Show her the white yarrow growing beside the concrete. When she was born, a masked doctor held her by the heel. I heard her yowl before I saw her. The wound of birth tore us in two. We regarded each other across unfamiliar air. We regard each other still. Daughter, we are sometimes girls, sometimes crones or sisters or friends. I teach you what I know. I make a tea bath for you of yarrow's 1,000 leaves. Witch, warrior, doctor, mother. Remember how we planned to get married and have children? Remember that winter when you were still alive? The cold of outer space when the door opened, and the warmth of our bodies when it closed. Remember the branches out the window black with ice, and how you loved to read their runes against the sky? How you hated when I smoked cigarettes, and I hated when you smoked pot, but we understood each other. I needed to breathe, and you needed a way to tame the blue lines that shot out from your head like an invisible crown of feathers only we could see. Remember how we planned to get married and have children? And then we didn't get married, didn't have children. 6 years later, you left for good, and no one could tell me how. It had something to do with your suffering, which we both knew was part of your job description as a prophet. Still, I'm sorry for your loss, sorry for all of it. I know you can't stay long, so let me tell you the secret. Sometimes I look at my son and see your face. My midwife in Portland was named Mary Grabowska. Maybe some of you had the pleasure of working with her. Pleasure and the pain of working with her. She was amazing. And although things did not go exactly as planned, it was really special to write this kind of love poem to her. To my midwife, you sat in the rocking chair and watched to keep me safe. You checked your phone, you checked my cervix. When it had gone on for too long, you drove me to the hospital on all fours in the trunk of your hatchback as I screamed over the speed bumps in Vancouver. So much for home birth. Strangers watched in the ER as you braced your body against the wall so I could lean on you. Oh, Mary, now I'm alone with my baby, and you are elsewhere, your hand inside some other mother. Maybe right now. We learn to be human. I attended the online seminar on shame. It helped for a minute. More importantly, I've been loving the goddess for a long time, like 5,000 years now. And these hiccups in my groin are a sign she'll be here when it's time. Now in a white t-shirt, you go to bed. Husband, you started as a seed. I'll meet you when I'm done taking off my makeup. We learn to go to bed, to put on eyeliner. We learn to be human when we don't get what we want. You too started as a seed, my son, and now I feel your fingers uncurling against my center from the inside like a fern. Mother's Day. When the sandbox is overturned and the cucumber shoots are heavy with particulate, I chant summer, 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 and walk upstairs. This is how it is now. I lose my patience over and over, only to find it waiting for me, calling me not by my name, but by the name Mother. Message from Earth. A mother knows how to praise time, the medium that paints us each day slightly differently. Here on this planet, taste of elk, smell of sheep, finger feel of leaves and roots, petals and sepals earned one by one. Licorice for the throat, comfrey for the joints. The body doubles in on itself. Mullein for the lungs, like a restaged epic, calendula and yarrow for the skin, motherwort for the heart. This month, you want to be an astronaut. My daughter, when you go into space, take these with you. Tell them this planet was beautiful. I have two more poems. So this one is my Cascadia Seduction Zone poem. I think I wrote it around the time when that New Yorker article came out that was like, you're all gonna die. It made it beautiful there, but I'm glad I don't live there. I'm glad in New York writing this article. How about you? I was reading it like, Okay. Cathedral. I typed the wrong year, I hold the amethyst in my mouth like a sharp purple tongue. I bleed on the chair by mistake. So much blood. I make raspberry leaf tea. I make mistakes. I get a little droopy here and there. We agree on an earthquake meetup location. We plan to stay married. I cry for the third child I don't want and won't have. So much I could not have understood before turning into an asshole. So much I failed to do when I rang the bell to the cathedral and left my heart on the steps wrapped in its swaddling clothes. Once we were helpless. The house slid right off its foundation. The ground became water. It buckled like a hand. We are still telling the story, even though we are temporarily strong with our electric companies and our faucets. And this last poem is the last poem in the book, and it's called Letter to the Moon. Dear white moon in the blue July sky, you seem to be sending me a message again, and what I hear is, this will all end soon. My young son and daughter climbing into my bed, begging me to show them the dinosaurs in the dinosaur book. Yellow teeth, great green bodies rearing up above the trees, terrible bat wings, glowing yellow eyes that make my children turn away and scream in terror, joyful, maniacal, then turn back to me, begging me to show them the next dinosaur. So that our morning begins in the Jurassic Age, which the book says is, quote, much warmer than the average temperature today, which is 57 degrees, but since it was written 5 years ago, it's probably inaccurate now. You know what I mean, moon. These details, asking to be savored before we melt. The grass bent down by small feet. The bees nuzzling clover. Playground shrieks. Blue plastic pool where we cool our ankles and suck on lemonade popsicles that my past self made last week. White moon in the blue July sky, midday like a warning of an era coming to a close. Eras. Mesozoic, Anthropocene, childhood, Alicia. In your light, or the sun's light, moon, that bounces through the frozen dark of space onto you, I foresee the end. Blue, like a newly washed sheet, spread smooth above us. Your white presence like the stain from two bodies who lay on the sheet the night before and made life between them. Thank you.